any other introductions, and I'm giving the word to James Nathan Ford. Please, James.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes,
presentation?
yes.
Okay, not the big. So the party, the PowerPoint. You can see it. Oh.
Yes, we see your presentation.
Okay. The title of my lecture is "The Evil Eye in the Syriac Magic Bowls." Only 2 Syriac bowls directed specifically against the evil eye have been published to date, namely BLMJ 70 by Naveh and Shaked 1993 and MS 1928-54 by Shaked 2000. Both bowls carry essentially the same basic spell against the evil eye and appear to have been written by a Christian practitioner or possibly practitioners as they make appeal to the power of Christ. Today, I will focus on a 3rd bowl in the Yesselson family collection, JIB 27. It was written by a different hand than that or those of the previously published Syriac evil eye bowls and carries a different but thematically related spell. The new bowl was also likely written by a Christian practitioner as it conjures the evil eye in the name of Hadu. He is one, a divine epithet based on the Beshita to Deuteronomy 6, verse 4. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. David and Yemima Yesselson for permission to study this bowl. I would also like to thank Professor Shaul Shaked for permission to quote from unpublished bowls in the Skoyan collection. Photographs of the Skoyan bowls are used courtesy of Matthew Morgenstern. As can be seen in the photograph, JIB 27 is written in the Manichaean script. The writing begins outside the central design and spirals towards the edge. On the outside of the bowl, perpendicular to the rim, is a label indicating the purpose of the incantation. The label reads Da'ina, for the eye. The word Aina, eye, without any attribute, here refers to the magical evil eye. There can be no mistake about this, as the usual appellation Aina Bishta, literally evil eye, appears repeatedly in the body of the incantation. The label Da'ina for the evil eye, or for the eye, is identical to the label Da'ina in the Jewish magic bowl MS 2053/97. Here you have Dalet, Yud, Nun, and a poorly preserved Aleph in a circle. It's on the outside of the bowl in the same way. Both are exact parallels of Sha'inim, of the eye, in the colophon of an Akkadian incantation against the evil eye, number 2. Shiptum Sha'inim, incantation against the eye. The end of Lil Aini, for the eye, in the title of an Arabic evil eye spell. Faidatun Ukhra Lil Aini, another remedy for the eye. The technical term Aina, eye, referring to the evil eye, also appears in the title of a late Syriac incantation, number 4, for cattle, so that the eye, Aina, does not attack it. The incantation itself begins with a long introduction, lines 1 to 7a, which enumerates the various people and possessions.
I'm sorry, James, just we have a problem with sounds of other people. I turn out the whole sound and you turn yourself, okay?
Okay.
Okay, and now you turn your sound.
Okay. 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 The incantation itself begins with a long introduction, lines 1 to 7a, which enumerates the various people and possessions to be protected. The evil eye is mentioned together with other demonic forces as follows. The text reads, this amulet and subdual and charm and sealing and protection is designated for the sealing and for the protection of this Haskil, son of Imi. Subdued and sealed and doubly sealed is this house of Haskil, son of Imi, and sealed is his wife, somebody, daughter of Miriai, and sealed is Kuso, and sealed is Ravia, and sealed are their sons and his daughters, and his sustenance, and his goats, and his livestock, and his cattle, and his lambs, and his kids, and his pig or pigs, and his chickens, and his hired servants, and his watchmen, and all that is in his house, this house. They are sealed and doubly sealed, and fortified from demons, and from devs, and from the evil eye that lies. In line 3, the name of the beneficiary appears. It's called Haskil. He bears a typical Iraqi Jewish name, Haskel or Heskel. It derives from the biblical name Yechezkel, Ezekiel. The family may thus conceivably be Jewish, despite the reference to his pig or pigs in line 6. In Jewish Neo-Aramaic, by the way, one finds the hypochoristic form Hasko, Ezekiel. Lines 6 to 7 read, Aina Bishta Demeshtakira, the evil eye that lies. The dishonesty of the evil eye is expressed in a late Syriac incantation by the adjective nechilta, deceitful, number 5. And the evil and envious and deceitful eye, Aina Bishta wa Hasemta wa Nechilta, of evil human beings. Similarly, in the Mandaic evil eye incantation series, Shafta de Pishra de Aine, number 6, flee and be scared away evil and something, and envious and something, and deceitful eye that deceives, to Nachilti de Nachla, on land and in water. For the semantic relationship between the Meshtakira that lies and Nechilta or Nachilti, deceitful, compare the Targum Psalms 120, verse 2. O Lord, save my soul from lying lips, misifwatha de shikra, and from the wily tongue, lishana nechilta. The main spell begins with the conjuration of the evil eye, which calls for its blinding and the striking of its face, lines 7b to 8a. It reads, may the eye be blinded, and may its face be beaten, and may it not harm its fellows. Line 7 reads, Teth awar aina, may the eye be blinded. The same verb appears in the thematically related passages in BLMJ 70 and MS 1928/54, with loss of the pharyngeal consonant, as frequently in Babylonian Syriac, number 8. Tith awar wa tith mache aina bishta dehi machathe leyoya bar Rashnanduch. May the evil eye that smote Yoya bar Rashwan, son of Rashnanduch, be blinded and smitten. Although the verb to blind is not explicitly used, the evil eye is essentially punished with blinding in Shafta de Pishcha de Aine, number 9. May a raven take it and ascend to the top of a palm tree and skewer it on a hard palm thorn. The same pair of verbs as in BLM J70 in reverse order appear with respect to the eyes of a demon in a Mandaic magic bowl, number 10. Muhya al-aina wa aina awwa, smite her on her eyes and blind her eyes. Line 7, we find Wanet stalaf partsufa, and may its face be beaten. The form of the verb netstalaf is anomalous. The scribe mistakenly wrote the tau of the stem before the sode, and then correctly wrote the partially assimilated and metaphysized teth after the sode. He possibly initially intended to write a different verb, such as nethmache, may it be smitten, as in BLMJ 70. The collocation of the verb salaf with partsufa face also appears in a Jewish magic bowl in the context of a hostile act of a demon against its victim, number 11. The spirit shuts up her mouth, beats her face, salva with bet, partsufa, and confuses her tongue in her mouth. The reference to the face of the evil eye is an indication of anthropomorphizing. This motif has been discussed in detail in Ford 1998. Compare especially the reference to striking the cheek of the evil eye and temporarily blinding its eyes in the following Akkadian incantation, number 12. Strike her cheek, maksama lesa, and turn her back. Fill her eyes with salt, fill her mouth with ashes. In later Syriac magic, the anthropomorphizing of the evil eye is apparent in the evil eye incantation anathema of the angel Gabriel and the accompanying illustration of the angel Gabriel impaling the evil eye. We see the angel on the horse, and he's impaling with the lance Aina Bishta, the evil eye, which has two eyes and hands and legs and face and hair. Lines 7 to 8 read, Wala nechte behavre or havra, and may it not harm its fellows. The common verb hata, to harm, regularly takes the preposition bet. The spelling nun ches teth for its standard nun ches teth olaf, nechte, most likely represents sandy writing. In light of the context, the subject is certainly the feminine aina, ein. The anomalous masculine form of the verb would be due to the influence of the preceding masculine verb nestalaf, may it, the face of the eye, be beaten. Havre or havra, its fellows, would therefore refer to the victims of the evil eye. If our interpretation is correct, this passage corroborates the obscure reference to the ach, brother of the evil eye, as its victim in the Ugaritic evil eye incantation, RS 22.225. The text reads, it, the evil eye, saw its brother, how lovely he was. Its brother, how very seemly. Its brother is achaha, which corresponds to chavra. The spell now continues with a monologue in which the beneficiary speaks of his struggle against the evil eye, lines 8b to 10a. It shares some vocabulary with the corresponding dialogue in the two other Syriac evil eye bowls. The first part, lines 8b to 9a, consists of three parallel irreal conditional phrases, each beginning with the conditional particle elule elu, were it not, as follows. Were not my victory for my sake, the evil eye would have vanquished me. Were not my shutting for my sake, the evil eye would have shut me up. Were not my glare for my sake, the evil eye would have glared at me. The apodosis of the first two phrases are relatively straightforward and describe aggressive actions of the evil eye vis-a-vis its victim by means of the verbs zechatan, would have vanquished me, and sechartan, would have shut me up. The words zechuth, my victory, and sechurt, my shutting, in the protases appear to be verbal nouns corresponding to the verbs in the respective apodicese. The third parallel phrase, elule elu humarti, or humart alai, hamartan aina bishta, were it not my glare for my sake, the evil eye would have glared at me. This phrase contains the verb hamar. Cal translates the pa'al stem as to be red hot. But in the present context, I would propose the meaning to glare at. The cognate verbal noun humart in the protasis would mean my glare. This meaning of hamar is suggested by a Mandaic incantation in which the same verb refers to a pernicious action of the eye of a demonic egg. The text reads as follows, number 15. Why have you opened your mouth against me? Why do you plot in your heart against me? Why do you plot in your mind against me? Why do you glare at me, mehamret alai, with your teeth? This is a graphic error with your eyes. Why do you wink with your eyelids at me? Why do your legs run after me? Then they go through another series of responses with the same members of the body. Whence do I have a mouth that I can open against you? Whence do I have a heart that I can plot against you? Whence do I have a mind that I can plot against you? Whence do I have eyes that I can glare at you? Echmarbach. Whence do I have eyes, for eyelids, that I can blink at you and wink at you? Whence do I have legs that I can run after you? Then again, the same list of members of the body. And you have no mouth that you can open against me, and you have no heart in which you can plot against me, and you have no mind with which you can plot against me, and you have no eyes that you can glare at me. Tichmara alai. And you have no eyelids that you can blink at me, and you have no legs that you can run after me. The text enumerates various body parts of the demon, along with actions typically effectuated by the said member. The verb hamar must therefore refer to some action of sight, as it is performed by the eye. Since the verb clearly has a negative connotation in both texts, a translation to glare or to gaze angrily seems appropriate. The glaring would be an expression of the anger and rage burning inside the master of the eye, thus the connection with the meaning to be red hot. The same verb appears in BLMJ 70, where it must have the same meaning, number 16. Why is it the evil eye glared at me? Chemrath alai. Now then, it has glared at me, again, chemrath alai. The second half of the monologue, lines 9b to 10a, recounts the ultimate victory of the beneficiary over the evil eye. The beneficiary, in effect, succeeds in doing what the evil eye what the evil eye had intended to do to him, as follows. Now, since my victory is for my sake, I have vanquished the evil eye. Since my shutting is for my sake, I have shut up the evil eye. Since my glare is for my sake, I have glared at and subdued the evil eye. The spell concludes as follows, lines 10b to 13. In the name of He is one who subdued all and subjugated all, thus do I subdue the eye and the malicious glare and every evil one and his force. Subdued is the evil one and his force, and destroyed is the enemy and his force is overthrown. From Haskil, son of Emi, and from his house, and from his wife, and from his sons, and from his something, and from his goats, and from his livestock, and from his oxen, and from his something, and from his horses. Subdued is the demon, and the rest of the text is illegible. The evil eye is conjured in the name of Hadu. He is one. The reading in line 11, Kaveshna la le'aina, I subdue the eye, is difficult. If we look at the close-up, you can see faint traces of a lamed here. Then you can see the ein, the a, the yud is here. Then we have a beth, and the olaf is very clear. The problem is that up here, first of all, it doesn't make any sense, la'aiba. Plus there's a line here, a stroke here above the beth. And apparently what happened is the scribe by mistake wrote le'aiba, I don't know why, and then he corrected it with a superlinear nun to le'aina, which is the expected reading. I subdue the eye. The second object of the same verb kaveshna, I subdue, is lechumarta zedanitha, and the malicious glare. The adjective zedanitha, malicious, is by far the most frequently attested attribute of the class of demon chomarta, often translated amulet spirit. In the present context, however, the collocation with aina, eye, or evil eye, in this context, Homarta surely has the same meaning as homart my glare earlier in the text. Compare the parallel pair Aina Bishta, the evil eye, and Maskita Hasemtha, the envious gaze in AO 17.824, and Aina Bishta Wakati Ahazia, the evil eye and the fixed gaze in an early Syriac amulet published by Genu, Syriac 2. Lines 11 to 12 read, Wamasaf Sane Mamagar Haile, and destroyed is the enemy and his force is overthrown. The same verbs appear in reverse order in the Havdalah de Rabbi Akiva with reference to the destruction of demonized witchcraft, number 19. And all evil sorceries shall turn back against their practitioner, and they shall be overthrown and come to an end. Nit magrun nisufum, and something against their master. That's it. Thank you very much.
Oh, James, thank you for your very interesting presentation.